The bloating isn't just physical anymore. It's affecting God's plan for you, your confidence, your energy, your clothes, and your peace. Hi, I'm Jamie McQuivey, and this is Healthy by Design, From Stress to Blessed. And in this video, I'm going to show you 3 things. The first thing, 10 symptoms you didn't even know were digestive symptoms that you may be suffering with right now. Second thing is the 10 spiritual consequences of ignoring your digestive health. And the third is the one thought destroying your digestion. By the end, you will be able to walk away with one powerful practice and one powerful tool. So let's dive in. Years ago, there was a season in my life where I showed up for everyone, family, work, ministry. I was stretched thin. I had nothing left to give, and I was running on fumes and didn't even realize it. My body was sending me signals, but I wasn't listening to these signals. I was just plowing through on faith and adrenaline. It wasn't until I really broke down in prayer that God started teaching me, and for the first time, I started to experience physical peace. I want to talk to you about the 10 symptoms you didn't even know were digestive symptoms, because most people think that it's just, diarrhea or constipation or stomach pain or acid reflux, which it is, but there are some really hidden things that you need to know about. Your gut is connected to almost every other system in your body. And one of the first ones I want to talk to you about is acne or skin breakouts. So this is when gut inflammation, food sensitivities, constipation, or imbalanced bacteria start to show up in your skin. Right? So skin is a large organ of elimination. And so it's trying to get rid of toxins. It's trying to work through, but this is being affected by poor digestion. And so whenever I see these sweet kids who have just such problems with their skin, it is a sign that we need to be working on their digestion. And that will lead into 2. But before I go there, I want to tell you that I had one client who came with adult acne after having her daughter. We worked on her digestion, among other things that had changed. She had lost weight and started sleeping, but it was really her face started to clear up, and she had never connected the 2. The second is poor sleep or waking between 1 and 4. And I have people come in all the time who are like, wait, so I came to see you for stomach pain and not being able to digest food, but now you're telling me my poor sleep also is connected? And I always say yes, because it's signs of blood sugar instability and gut inflammation, but more importantly to me is liver congestion. And so we have these organs of the digestive system. A lot of people think about it as just the stomach, but it's not. It includes the gallbladder, the liver, the pancreas, the spleen, among other things. And so these are going to be so important to heal digestion so you can actually start sleeping again at night. The third one is anxiety and panic attacks. The gut and brain are deeply connected through the gut-brain axis. And those are kind of buzzwords, but what you need to know is that there is a direct connection, that when the gut or digestion is off, the brain is as well. And so this is when we have imbalanced gut bacteria that can affect what we call the neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA. So happy hormones. And so we start to get these anxiety and panic attacks. I had another client who came, she had severe PMDD, and also she had anxiety attacks. And so she was so happy when she got her digestion fixed, her hormones fixed, and she no longer suffers from these anxiety panic attacks because they're related, and she never knew. The fourth one is brain fog or poor concentration. So poor digestion can lead again to that inflammation in the body, and which leads to nutrient deficiencies, unstable blood sugar, and all of these cloud your thinking. We often say, oh, it's because of stress, and it may be, I'm not saying it's not, or growing older. I know plenty of older people who are sharp as a tack, so that can't be the only truth. When we start to clear the digestion, we start to clear the brain fog. Number 5 is hormone imbalance or PMS. Again, my daughters-in-law came into our family thinking it was normal to have, very painful periods and PMS before, and all this craving and feeling horrible at least 1 week out of the month. They thought that this was their burden to bear. And once they understood that this is not normal, it's common, it's not normal, and we start to fix their digestion, suddenly periods are sneaking up. Like, oh, I should probably chart this better because I didn't feel it coming. Another client I had would always get migraines before we heal the digestion, and these migraines start to disappear as well. So migraines are from that histamine issues and gut inflammation, constipation, and blood sugar that all play a role in that. The 7th one is bad breath. And so this often comes from low stomach acid, bacterial overgrowth, reflux, or sluggish digestion, and it's not just dental hygiene. It's even the same with people who have a lot of body odor. So if you're not doing these 3 things, so we forget that there are 3 parts. There is digestion, and most people aren't even getting good digestion, let alone assimilation. So that's when your body takes in and is able to utilize what you have. And then the 3rd part is evacuation. Everything that is not being used or that is old comes out. And so bad breath and bad body odor is a sign that one of those 3 things in the digestive process is not working. All right, the next one is joint pain or body aches. We like to think that we're getting old and that, it's just my mom had it, my dad had it, whatever. That when we have these arthritises, itis, meaning inflammation, so we have gastritis, arthritis, all of these joint pains and body aches are from food sensitivities. And I want to tell you that food sensitivities, again, are common. They're not normal. We need to fix them. I used to not be able to eat hardly anything. I had eliminated sugar and gluten and the nightshades and all the things, and I healed my digestion. Now I can have all of those things again. And so these are just symptoms telling me that there is a greater problem. I had leaky gut and digestive inflammation, and all of those add to that joint pain, always being sore and wondering what's going on. All right. The 9th one is fatigue and burnout. If digestion is weak, your body struggles to absorb nutrients and to produce energy, ATP, energy in your cells. So if your digestion isn't working and your assimilation isn't working, you can't help but be tired. Your body's not getting what it needs. And then the last one is weight loss resistance or stubborn belly fat. So this again is related to gut inflammation, constipation, blood sugar problems, microbiome imbalance, all of these that affect metabolism and hormones. These symptoms, even though they're not directly related to digestion, it doesn't feel like it, they are. So we need to be understanding really the deeper situation that's going on here. You don't need more information. You need a stronger foundation. I want you to pause and let that sink in. You don't need more information. You need a stronger foundation. We need to heal the foundation, which is your digestion. Now I want to talk about something most health content never touches. And this is the spiritual cost of ignoring your body. Because it's not just about feeling better. It's about doing your calling. It's about doing what God has called you to do. I want to talk to you about a little bit about Elijah in the Bible. So Elijah was one of the most powerful prophets, and he had experienced some massive victory. So in this victory, he confronted King Ahab. He called for a public showdown between God and Israel and Baal. Lots of drama going on there. And then he called down fire from heaven. And then he went to the top of Mount Carmel and prayed, and there was rain after a 3-year drought. And then he ran supernaturally ahead of Abraham's chariot. So this prophet has seen miracles this day. And then he gets, from the queen, she sends a missive to him, and he just crumbles. He just immediately hits this wall. So he ran into the wilderness, and he sat under a juniper tree, and he said, I've had enough. Lord, take my life. I don't even want to live anymore. And this is because he was burned out and exhausted, and he was just done. And I wonder how many of you have felt that way. I'm just burned out, tired. I don't want to keep living like this. I don't necessarily want to die, but I don't want to keep living like this. And what did God do for Elijah? He didn't rebuke him. He didn't preach at him even. He sent an angel who touched him and said, arise and eat. God fed him. And then he said, the journey is too great for you. And so he told him to sleep. And so God's prescription for burnout and stress is to eat good food, to rest, and then just to abide in him. And so the first thing that God addressed was his physical body. And because Elijah couldn't fulfill his purpose on an empty vessel. And so this is what chronic gut issues do. They drain your capacity to carry what God has placed in your hands. The journey is too great for a depleted body. So the 10 spiritual consequences of not taking care of your digestion are: first, you cannot fully pour out when your body is constantly crying out for help. It can't. 2, burnout steals discernment, energy, creativity, patience, and presence. So we're focusing on so many different things that our energy, our creativity, it's gone. We're just surviving. The number 3 thing that happens is that women think they're failing spiritually when they're actually depleted physically. And we're looking for one more thing to do. We know something's not right, but what's one more thing I can do? I can push, and a lot of women who are literally living on caffeine and prayer and just running from sun up to sundown because they know if they sit down, they're out. They need a nap. They're tired, or they're having these emotional bursts, which we'll talk about. The 4th thing that is a spiritual consequence of not having good digestion is that it quietly drains you of your stamina to serve, to create, to lead, to mother, to minister, and to love well. And so it's like when that, sheet goes around church and a young mother needs meals, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do one more thing. Instead of, absolutely, I can serve in this way, if that's your calling. So we talk about also staying in your lane and checking with God before doing anything, any acts of service, to make sure that it is you he is calling to that. The 5th thing is when your body is inflamed and exhausted, survival mode replaces purpose. So now we're just doing to survive. And our purpose, our God-given divine assignment, is put on hold because we're just surviving. We're just trying to stay awake. We're just trying to deal with the kids. We're just trying to be a good wife. We're just. And that word, when someone says to me, I'm just, I know that what follows after is probably not the best. Like, even if they say I'm just a mom, it means they don't understand their value as a mom. Or if they say I'm just trying to, that might not be the right thing for that person to do. So we need to be very careful. The 6th thing is when we're ignoring our digestion, we're ignoring chronic symptoms that can keep us so focused on getting through the day that you never, again, fully step into building that day what God wanted you to do. Did you make that phone call to that friend that you felt that nudge on your heart, but you're too busy doing other things and you don't feel well? You're just thinking, can I just get to the end of the day where I can go to bed? The 7th thing is the enemy doesn't always need to destroy your calling. I love this one. He doesn't need to destroy your calling. All he needs to do is give you a little bit of exhaustion, a little bit of brain fog, a little bit of distraction, and it's no longer an issue. He's got you. He doesn't have to destroy you and make you have alcoholism or cheat on your husband or anything like that. Sometimes it's just looking away. It's just being too tired and head down. And that's what, when we're not taking care of our bodies, does. The eighth thing is a dysregulated body can make it hard to hear, to think clearly, to pray consistently, or to show up present for people God trusted you. And I know that I went through this, like showing up for my kids before I did this was a burden. It was hard. It was frustrating. And then after, it was a joy. It was a pleasure. And I could be present. The ninth consequence is unhealed burnout often leads to isolation, numbness, resentment, and feeling disconnected from your purpose. So again, now we're just frustrated. We know we should be doing something, but we don't want to be doing it. We don't have the energy, the stamina, the direction. We can't think clearly. And the 10th one is that your health may not be the purpose of your life, but it dramatically affects your ability to carry out your purpose. My purpose is to help women to heal their bodies, their digestion, their mind, their hormones, so they can get back to their divine assignment. Let me show you the biggest mistake people make. They separate the mental from the physical and spiritual. So if you're struggling with this, I have a free training, 7 days digestive reset kit for high achieving and high performing Christian women. And it walks you through the process step by step. So there's a link below. But before you go grab that, let me show you why this matters beyond just the physical. If I could point to one pattern I see in almost every high achieving, high performing Christian woman I work with, it is this: I have to carry it all. So that one thought can keep your body stuck in chronic stress mode. When the brain feels stress, pressure, or emotional overload, your digestion pays the price. And so when you're thinking, I can do this in my own strength. If it's up to me, I have to carry it all. What happens in the body, this has a direct correlation with what happens in the body. Your stomach acid decreases, so you can't break down food the way it's supposed to. Your digestion slows down. Things stay stagnant and don't move forward. Nutrient absorption weakens. Now your cells and all the tissues in your body aren't getting what they need. Inflammation increases. Now you're sore, you're tired, your body's fighting. Your blood sugar becomes unstable. Now you're mentally going, okay, what is going on here? I can't even manage the day's daily stresses, which means your cortisol is rising now. And the gut becomes incredibly more sensitive. So now we have sensitivity to dairy, to wheat, to any like histamine foods, your potatoes, your tomatoes, those type of things. So many women are not just physically overworked. They are mentally carrying everyone and everything. I want you to think about that. Are you one of these women? That 71% of the mental load is on your shoulders. That's the average, 71% of the mental load. And that causes disease, dis-ease, unease in the body. So the body doesn't know the difference between a work deadline or getting something done or feeling a little stress and physical danger. It responds in the same way. And if it stays that way long enough, your body pays the price. Your digestion pays the price. One of the simplest practices, so what can you do? One of the simplest practices to tell the body it's safe to rest and digest is through 3 things. We're going to connect the body, the spirit, and the mind. And that is through movement, deep breathing, and prayer after meals. Yes, we're going to pray before it, but we're also going to do this afterwards. So this movement improves the blood sugar, the gut motility, and the circulation. The deep breathing activates that parasympathetic rest and digest state. Prayer or the calming meditations release mental pressure and shifts your spirit out of striving and into resting. So this is what it looks like. Once you eat your meal, so this is breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you can do all of them, or the biggest meal of the day if you can only do one. So after this meal, this is going to take 10 minutes. Go for a slow walk. This isn't trying to jog around the block. This is just a slow walk where you're going to breathe deeply through your nose and relax your shoulders and jaw. And you're going to stop the rushing in your mind and just try to be mentally present. Sometimes people will count their steps. And what you're going to do is you're going to repeat a calming prayer or truth to yourself. Some of the ones I suggest are, God is with me. I do not have to carry everything alone. So sometimes I'll do an inhale, God is with me, and exhale, I do not have to carry everything alone. Another one is, I release pressure and receive peace. My body is safe to heal. I can walk slowly and still fulfill my purpose. Be still and know that I am God. Come unto me and I will give you rest. So those are 6 mantras, faith-filled, prayer-loving mantras that can pull all of this into one easy 10-minute exercise. So coming back to my story I gave you in the beginning is that the moment I broke down in prayer and felt peace physically for the first time is when I shifted to really honoring my body. And this is when healing started to happen. So you can eat all the good foods, you can do all the good things, but if you don't help heal your digestive system, it doesn't matter what you eat, the supplements you take, how many ice baths you take, that you do saunas, that you're taking this herb or that. None of that matters if, one, you cannot digest it, you cannot assimilate it, and you cannot evacuate it. So if you're struggling with the physical, spiritual, or mental symptoms that we talked about, click the link below right now. My free training, the 7-day digestive reset kit for high-performing Christian women, walks you through the 3 different types of digestive imbalance and what to do for each one of them in this process step by step. Remember, you do not have to keep white-knuckling your way through every day. Your body was designed by God and it's designed to heal when you give it the right support. So remember, the link is below and I'll see you inside.